Dun, 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 dun. Star Wars! Yeah. Well, that was a shit intro, wasn't it? Anyway, I'm here to review Star Wars The Force Awakens. Well, this movie, obviously, we all know the movie is a big blockbuster saga that everyone knows. If you have not seen it, you've heard of it. If you haven't heard of it, you've been living under a fucking rock. This is one of those franchises that will live on forever. It will live on for the rest of our lives. Even when I'm dead, everyone's dead. It's going to go on into generation to generation, and it's just going to keep going. It's not going to end. So, this film is set 32 years after the events of Return of the Jedi. And it basically is... The plot is... What is the plot? The plot is basically a spoiler. Basically, you're not meant to know the plot of the film. You're just meant to go in and not know anything, because basically the synopsis of the film is a spoiler. And I can tell you one thing about the film, if you haven't seen it yet. It is one of the best films of the year. Closely on the top 3 of the best movies of the year. Still, Mad Max Fury Road, in my opinion, is still the best movie this year. I would say that this is number 2, number 3. I'd say it's probably number 2. This is right, sort of behind Mad Max Fury Road. I really enjoyed this movie, and I can tell you that this movie is far better than the prequels. So much better. Like, it is back to the original formula of the original trilogy. Does it top any of the original films? In my opinion, yes. I believe generally that it beats Return of the Jedi. It does not beat The Empire Strikes Back or A New Hope. But come on, how are you going to ever top the original and top The Empire Strikes Back? Unless Episode 8 is fucking amazing and is better than this. I mean, this is the kind of film that fans have been waiting for years. This is the movie for you, if you're a Star Wars fan. But the truth is, what I've been seeing on the internet, regardless of what you do, there are always going to be people that are going to complain about what the film is, and the complaints about all the stuff that might seem stupid, that might seem annoying. Every film has its problems. Even great films. The Empire Strikes Back has problems. A New Hope has problems. It's just every good movie has one, you know? Some things might explain how did this character get to this moment here? How did he get there so quickly? How did he find this character? Just gotta just watch it and just, have fun watching it, there's always problems in every movie regardless of what happens. And the problem is most of these fans are the people that always go on about Han Solo, who shot first. It's like, who fucking cares? We all know that Han Solo shot first because it was in the original film, but George Lucas changed it because he originally intended it to be the other guy shooting him, Greedo. And the truth is, that's the way George Lucas wanted it, and we can't really do anything because it's his freaking franchise, so he can do whatever the fuck he wants, even if that pisses everyone off, and me included. But that's the way he intended it. That's the way he wanted it to be. Anyway, Han did shoot first originally, but now Greedo does because he changed it. Fuck. But anyway, let's get back to The Force Awakens. It's a character about Rey, a girl that lives on a planet called Jakku. It's not a spoiler because it's in the trailer. And she is waiting for her family. Yet again, not a spoiler because it's in the trailer. And we don't know who the family is. We don't know if it has anything to do with the original characters or if it is someone that is an original character. I don't know. And she meets a robot named BB-8, not a spoiler because it's in the trailer. And then something happens, and then she meets Finn, and it's not a spoiler because it's in the trailer. And regardless of everything I say, it's not a spoiler because it's in the trailer. So I'm trying to say everything as possibly good as I can without spoiling the film for everyone. But the things I have problems with the film itself, without spoiling the movie, is that 99.4% of it is practical, which is freaking amazing. Like the practical effects in this amazing movie is like something that I have not seen in years. It's like going back to the 80s and seeing some. It was like being a young boy again, just growing up watching 80s movies, even though I'm a 90s boy. And there are scenes where you can tell what's CGI. There are two characters, probably three, mainly two, that kind of bothered me, but it didn't bother many people. But it kind of reminded me of the prequels just a little bit, but not too much. Like it was better than it wasn't so over the top like the prequels were, but it was because there was so much practical effects that I could tell what was practical and what was CGI, and that was one of the things that kind of annoyed me about the movie. But that's just a little thing. I mean, come on, this movie is fantastic. This is exactly what we have been wanting for years. And there are people complaining on, oh, it's just another story thing of A New Hope. It's the original film. You guys were complaining because the prequels were not like the originals, and now you're complaining because this new film is a lot like the original. I mean, make up your fucking mind, people. What do you want? Do you want it to be like the prequels, or do you want it to be more like the originals, or do you just want it? What the fuck do you want it to be? You complain about the prequels not being the originals, and now you're complaining about this one being too much like the original. What the fuck? You're fucking hypocrites, is what you are. You're all hypocrites. If that's the case, you're just all fucking dumb, because there is no way, no one is going to be pleased if that's what you're thinking. The movie is fantastic. This is a great film. It is far better than the prequels. It's better than Return of the Jedi, in my opinion. It does not beat A New Hope or The Empire Strikes Back. It's number 3 out of the 7 movies on my list of Star Wars movies. This, everything about this movie, the characters are worked so well. The original characters, great. Harrison Ford, he is older, he is wiser, he's still Han Solo, he's gone through a lot since the 30 years, you know? And in this movie, his storyline has more depth than the other three, because there's something in the storyline that involves him a lot closer to the movie itself. And it's good to see that, because in a way, Han Solo, out of the ensemble cast, out of the three, was kind of the one that was sort of the left out one. Even though he was a really interesting character, my favorite character out of the three, he was the one that was the outcast, because it was about the Skywalkers and he wasn't a Skywalker. But something in this film has a lot of depth to his character, and I can't say what that is because you probably haven't seen the film. And it's handled really well. But there's another scene that kind of, thing is, I can't say it because it's a spoiler. I can't tell you something because it's gonna piss you off if I say it. There's a scene in the third act where it just sort of seems abrupt, where something just magically comes to the rescue and finds out something that leads to something, and it becomes something in the end for a character to get to that something. And I can't tell you what that is, but I just thought it was abrupt, and I'm kind of thinking, well, why didn't it get up earlier and freaking do this sooner rather than at the last minute? But if there's something that happens in the movie, there's probably a reason for it, but I haven't seen the big picture yet, because I haven't seen episode 8 or 9 yet, and they might explain why this happened. And I can't tell you because you haven't seen the movie. But I can tell you this, it's fantastic. The directing is amazing. J.J. Abrams knows what he's doing. The effects, the practical sets, the practical characters, the practical makeup, and everything was fantastic. The screen capture was amazing. Seeing the Millennium Falcon again was amazing. Seeing the way everything was shot by shot by shot by shot, it was fan-fucking-tastic. Everything was just back to the original. It was so much love and heart. You could just see the amount of love and heart in this movie. And the thing I was like that was surprising to me was how there was so much more humor in this movie than any other Star Wars movie I have ever seen. And it worked. There's more humor in this movie than any of the originals. And it actually is better humor. Like the prequels tried to do humor, but it didn't work. This actually worked. The humor in this movie, J.J. Abrams made it work. It was just, everything just went right. It was just completely good. And the actors, Daisy Ridley, John Boyega, Oscar Isaac, Adam Driver, Domhnall Gleeson, these actors have got friggin' bright futures ahead of them, and they're all fantastic in the movie. They play the characters well. Um, Daisy Ridley, she's fantastic. John Boyega, he's amazing. Oscar Isaac, he was incredible. I actually wanted to see him more in the film because I love the character Poe Dameron. And Adam Driver, I mean, I can't really say much about him, but about the character he plays and the story arc he has in the film, but he was just fascinating. He was just a fascinating villain. I can't say anymore because obviously, if you are a Star Wars fan, you know the character he plays in the movie, so obviously you know he's a villain. Kylo Ren, who is another sort of reincarnation of Darth Vader, but is a bit different, and there is a different sort of side to him, and it's interesting, but I can't tell you because it'll just spoil the movie. And Domhnall Gleeson plays General Hux. He is a dick. He is an English dick that helps Kylo Ren, and he is a dick, and he's good, and I can't say any more. If I had to score this movie out of 10, honestly, I'm going to give it an 8.8 out of 10. This movie was just, I mean, I can only say very few things that I have problems with, but the thing is, I haven't seen the big picture. All I have problems with is the practical. There's a lot of practical effects, but you can tell what's CGI and what's practical, and, you know, because there's so much practical effects, which I love, you can tell what's CGI, and that's what kind of, yeah, kind of annoyed me. But there are other people out there that wouldn't give a shit about it, so it doesn't bother you. I'm just a critic. I'm just saying what was there that kind of was a bit inconsistent. You know, practical, you know, too much practical over little CGI. You could tell what was CGI and what wasn't. That was my biggest problem with the film. But who cares? Like, that's what me and some other people would probably care about. But you guys probably wouldn't give a shit about it. And that's good. Just watch the movie. You're gonna love this movie. It's fantastic. It's got everything you want. What else can I say? If you like this video, subscribe, and yeah, bye.